My name is Risicki. I'm one of the Rhode Island chapter leads for Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. We are so happy to see so many people here today. I hope you had a chance to see our table. If not, you can check it out later and you can learn about all the amazing things that Moms is doing with your help to pass legislation to prevent gun violence in this state and in this country. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the day. And then I'm going to turn it over to Theresa for a moment. We're going to start this morning. We're all together. We're going to have a panelist of survivors, and then after the panelists, we're going to go into the breakout sessions. The breakout sessions are a little tricky to find, so please look in your program, be thinking about which breakout session you'd like to attend, and there'll be volunteers in the back holding up big signs. There'll be lots of people to help you find. One small change, the yoga session is actually up here on this floor, so please just look for the person holding the sign if that's what you're interested in attending. If you're not sure which session to attend, you can stay in this room. In this room, we're going to have Lobbying 101, which is an introduction to advocacy, which will be excellent for every single person here. So I'm going to turn it over now to Theresa Tanzi. We're running a little bit behind for that.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. We have a lot of work to do, and I'm so incredibly happy and privileged to be here today. So I'm a state representative. I've been in office now for 7 years, but prior to my time in the General Assembly, I was an advocate for victims of domestic violence. I began at the Domestic Violence Resource Center of South County shortly after I moved to Rhode Island about 16 years ago. And I was a volunteer, answering phones and working at the drop-in center as people would walk in. So the work was challenging, eye-opening, and incredibly satisfying. So much so that I wanted to become more involved. I felt compelled to get more involved, and I began to lead support groups. So as an advocate and a support group facilitator, my main task in these capacities was letting the people I was working with know that we were here for them, that someone was there for them, for direct services, for emotional support, referring them to other agencies to help them meet their basic needs. That was the triage part of the job. But the substance of the work done at the Resource Center was helping clients create safety plans. How to seek safety during an episode of violence. Safety for themselves, for their children, for their pets. Because anything that the abuser knew was beloved to them was a target for this violence. If a client made a determination that it was time to leave, my focus became helping them develop a comprehensive safety plan. It was not called an escape plan. No euphemisms were ever used. The gravity of the situation was clear. An abuser's power comes from control, and the thought of losing that control is too often unbearable. And statistically speaking, a time of departure is a time for escalating harm to occur. Safety was the subtext of every conversation we had. Do you have a backup of copies of birth certificates, of insurance cards, of passports, of school records? Have you gathered your medications and gotten refills? Because filling them after you leave may make you traceable. Plus, your partner may cancel your insurance. Have you cleared the history in your computer after searching the internet for an apartment? All of these things. This list is long of ways that women are putting themselves at risk for making a determination to make themselves safer. And slipping up can mean the difference between life and death. So providing those who are ready to leave with a safety plan offered them some protection, some cover to leave. The bill that I've sponsored adds one more layer of protection to these families, to these victims of domestic violence. The peace of mind of knowing that when they go to the courts and petition for protective order, that as long as that protective order is in place, their tormentor will not legally be allowed to possess or purchase firearms. We're allowing victims the cover to walk across the minefield that we statistically know exists when they're leaving and head for an exit. And are we giving them a guaranteed safe passage there? No, nothing is a guarantee of safety, and these folks know that. It's why they stay as often as they do. It is often safer for them to stay. What this bill would do, what we can all do, is give them a fighting chance. This bill is simply one that would protect Rhode Island domestic violence survivors from the threat of armed abusers. That's all it does. It would bring us in line with current federal statute. These protections exist under federal statute. We don't have them in the state of Rhode Island. The severity of the issue can be exemplified by a couple of disturbing statistics. Between 2003 and 2012, there were at least 31 domestic violence homicides in the state of Rhode Island. Nearly a quarter of these were committed with guns. Sadly, this is not surprising, considering the risk of homicide for a woman in a domestic violence situation increases fivefold when a gun is present. It's obvious that in order to save the lives of Rhode Island women and children, we need to keep guns out of the hands of their domestic violence abusers. Thankfully, we do have an opportunity to do so. The bill that Representative Morey and I have worked so hard on over the past few years, along with my co-sponsors, some of whom are here today, this critical piece of legislation protects victims of domestic violence by making 3 crucial changes to Rhode Island law, each designed to keep guns away from their domestic abusers. So first, it would prohibit gun possession by those convicted. Right? That's a no-brainer. Federal law, as I said, already provides these protections. And it certainly does not, this isn't a new concept. Many states, including Texas, Connecticut, West Virginia, and Colorado, and 16 others around the country already have taken this important step. Secondly, the bill would prohibit gun possession by domestic abusers who are subject to court-ordered protective orders, as 22 states already do. The provision would provide Rhode Island law enforcement with another tool to keep guns away from dangerous abusers. And finally, it would require prohibited domestic abusers to turn in guns they already have. This piece of the bill is critical. Prohibited abusers cannot pass a background check and buy new guns, but domestic violence victims aren't provided with enough protection when abusers are able to keep the guns they already have. And that's just what's happening in our state. Again, many other states have already taken this crucial step, and it's time to let Rhode Island join the list of proactive states that aim to protect families from the threat of armed abusers. It should be our top priority to take every step necessary to protect Rhode Island families, and I aim to do everything in my power to curb domestic violence against women. Make no mistake, this bill is one of the best ways that we can do both. And I just want to thank my coalition partners. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about the number of people who have come together to make this happen. We're working so closely this year with, as I said, Rep. Morey. The 2 of us have worked to combine our bills and our efforts together, along with the Rhode Island Coalition Against Gun Violence, the Rhode Island Coalition Against Domestic Violence, and Moms Demand Action. And I know that so many of you are in this room and are working hard on this, and I know that there's nothing that we can't do when we do it together. So thank you all for the opportunity.